Kickflip. I'm going to address Kickflip's question, even though on some level I feel like it's a mistake. But you know me. I can't resist taking the bait. And I feel like Kickflip is not alone in asking this question. Have you considered interviewing PhillyDroneLife? Bachgrinder interviews him. It's interesting the things he said, referring to the community, leaving him at the side of the road without hearing his side of the story. So I watched that. Blunty, did I respond to this in a previous live stream? I can't remember. I talked about it with maybe you, but I think it was offline.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember it being a clip.
Okay. This will be my official response to people who say, I saw Bachgrinder's interview with PhillyDroneLife, and then, and will you interview him? Oh no, I remember. I remember who I talked about that with. I think. I'll start by saying that what has happened to Mikey is wrong. It's wrong. That doesn't mean that I support the things that Mikey did. It doesn't mean that I don't think that Mikey screwed up. I think that Mikey screwed up. I think he has mishandled the entire situation, and that he has in many ways dug his own hole. But he doesn't deserve, and I don't think anybody deserves, $180,000 in fines for the things that he did. Even though I think that some of the things he did, like, I am not a person who says, you must obey all the rules, and if you don't, then you get what's coming to you. When I drive on the highway, my standard cruise control is 9 miles over the speed limit. Because 5 miles over the speed limit, they don't even look at you. And my theory is that 9 miles over the speed limit, they're going to let it slide. And so that's, I would go faster if I thought I wouldn't get a ticket. So I'm not just a person who just obeys the rules because the rules exist. But some of Mikey's flights, I like flights over people, flights over roads. I personally don't feel comfortable with that. I don't like the thought that my drone could come crashing down on somebody's windshield while they're driving, damage somebody's car, maybe cause an accident, maybe hit a pedestrian in the head. Like, even though those things are extremely unlikely, and the fact that that's never happened, given the fact that Mikey at least appears to be a very reckless pilot, although he claims that many of those things are just hamming it up for the camera and he's actually safer. I can't speak to that. But despite the fact that, Mikey's never had, caused injury or property damage, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen all his videos. But I don't agree with all of his flights. But he still doesn't deserve a $180,000 fine. That's just stupid. But he does this interview with Bachgrinder. And I watched the interview. I did. I watched the whole thing. And the things that he says in the interview are not credible. Like he says, I went into this interview with the FAA, and we talked about the situation, and they said I was good. I don't remember his exact wording, but his wording, his story is that he walked out of the interview with the FAA with the idea that the issue was closed and he was good to go. And then the FAA changed their mind and came back after him. And he's like, oh, how did this happen? And the thing is, I know that didn't happen the way he describes it. I know that because I am privy to information about how the FAA behaves in this situation. And I have factual evidence of how they've behaved in the past with other pilots. And what they have done in the past, they will not say if they think you've committed a violation. Right? If they think you didn't commit a violation, this was just bullshit and you're good to go, they'll say, okay, the issue's closed. But in Mikey's case, there is no question that the FAA believed he committed violations and that they didn't go into this interview with him and say, oh, the evidence was wrong. We don't believe you committed a violation. What I believe they said was, now that we have educated you, we will not pursue this any further please don't do it again. And that's how the FAA often behaves. They call the pilot in. They say, the things you did were wrong. Don't do them again. Do we understand each other? Yes? Have a good day, sir. But if then you go out there and you keep doing the things, they go, oh, I see. I guess our conversation wasn't productive. Now we are going to throw the book at you. So my theory is that when Mikey walked out of there, everybody was smiles and giggles and chuckles and handshakes. And then Mikey went back to doing exactly what he was doing, which is not speculation. That is a fact. You could just look at his channel and see that he kept doing the things the FAA didn't want him to do. And the FAA went, oh, okay, fine. So like when I watch the interview with Bachgrinder, the things he says, if he believes them, he's wrong. He has misunderstood the situation, and that is why he's dug his own hole for the last 5 years. And the situation has gotten so dire that now the FAA wants $180,000 from him. And in that respect, the single biggest piece of advice I would give to him is that he has consistently misjudged the situation for the last 5 years. The things he has done have made it worse. And he needs to get good advice from somebody and listen to that advice, because he is making the situation worse, not better, with every move that he makes. That would be my advice. And so people say, will you interview him? No, I will not interview him for 2 reasons. Number 1 is that the things he says aren't credible. And number 2 is that the things he's saying aren't helping him. Me giving him a voice will just give him an opportunity to dig his hole even deeper. The best single thing I can do for him is to not give him a voice and to help him shut the F up and stop making things worse, and encourage him. Mikey, I'm talking to you. Get a lawyer. Call the FPV Freedom Coalition and say, hey, I'm getting effed here. What should I do? And then do what they say. Or I'm not even going to try to advise you. But if you watch that video and you think, Jesus Christ, I feel bad for this guy. Me too. Me too. But if you watch that video and you think, wow, I never knew his side of the story, then I think you've been snowed, because his side of the story is not credible if you know anything at all about how the FAA operates. The only thing you should think when you watch that interview is, this guy had no freaking idea what was going on, and he made some huge mistakes, and now he's paying for them. He should have walked out of that first interview with the FAA, and he should have never violated another FAA regulation again. At least not on camera. Because once you're in the scope, once you've had that call and they've said, this is your warning, don't do it again, they will absolutely roast you if you do it again. That was your chance to get out of jail free. And it's not fair. It's not fair. And it feels wrong. And here's the other thing I'll say. The last thing I'll say about this, and then we will move on. When I watched the interview with Bachgrinder, I was disappointed. Because I respect civil disobedience. I don't always agree with it. But I respect the use of civil disobedience I respect when a person puts their own ass on the line and says, I believe in a thing and I will stand up for it even though it will hurt me. I respect that. We could disagree about the thing you're standing up for, but if you're putting your own ass on the line and you're getting your ass beat for a thing you believe in, I tip my hat to you. But Mikey, he's been violating all these rules. And he says these charges are unjust, these rules are wrong. And then when it comes time for his own ass to be on the line, he doesn't stand up and go, I'm a martyr here. This is wrong. I will go down, but I will go down fighting. He just is like, I didn't know. It's so unfair. Like, your art. So it's not even like you're just a dude who just didn't give a fuck and did stupid shit and had no idea you were about to get steamrolled. Like, you're not even like a fighter for a cause. Because if you were a fighter for a cause, now that the hammer's coming down, you would go, good. Everybody watch it crush me and see how unfair this is. And you get inspired and fight for me while I go down. But you're not even doing that. Which, given that you're about to get crushed anyway, you could at least have some dignity about it. But no. It's just a pity party, as Joseph Dahari says. The time for a pity party is over. It's over. Which you don't realize, Mikey. You're so far past the time when you could have made your situation better by asking for help. All these interviews you're doing, there are people who watch them and they're like, oh man, this Mikey guy, that was 4 years ago was when you should have done that. Except it was too late then too, anyway. It's too late, dude. The thing you need to do is get a lawyer and shut the frick up. Get a lawyer and shut up. And stop posting videos to your channel and making things worse. That's what you need to do, Mike. And that's why I won't be interviewing him. Fair enough? But I want people to know, if he feels hung out to dry, the reason I'm hanging him out to dry is because he's not doing himself any damn favors. Every time he opens his mouth, he makes the situation worse. And I don't think he deserves to get roasted like this. But me giving him an interview, or Bachgrinder giving him an interview, is not making his situation better. It's making it worse. Anyway. Okay. Blunty, before we move on, and did you see any comments that deserve to be responded to? Because I was ranting, and I wasn't watching the comments.
No.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Can't wait till it's my turn. I don't know. Maybe my turn will never come. If my turn does come, if the FAA comes after me for something that they think I've done, and Lord knows there's enough people out there who try to report me to the FAA because they don't like me. So far, I have not gotten a call from the FAA. I am sure that the FAA is aware that I exist, and I'm sure that someone at the FAA has looked at my channel and gone, is this guy breaking the rules? Can we get him? Can we prove it? And I'm sure that they will wait until the time of their choosing when it will have the correct PR effect to decide when they go after me, if they do think they've got me. My hope is that there's nothing on my channel that can be used as evidence that I'm breaking the rules. But if that day comes, I certainly hope that I handle it with some dignity and some class. I don't whine about it. Don't whine. Jesus Christ.